The BHP podcast is presented by BowHunterPlanet.com. Join the hunt.
The BHP podcast is proudly presented by Element Outdoors, Cold Steel Knives, HHA Sports, Grind Life Coffee, Skull Hooker, Scott Archery, and Burris Optics.
Hey everyone, this is Tim for BowHunterPlanet. Make sure you check out the new podcast, Respect the Game, wherever you find your podcasts.
Hey guys, welcome to the BowHunterPlanet podcast. Tonight's show is myself, Jamie, and Tim, and then we got our friend Chris Hamm from HHA. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. It's hard not to be good on a day like this. So.
Yeah, beautiful. How's the weather in Wisconsin?
It's good. I mean, it's the last 3 days has been really nice. In fact, I got out yesterday morning. I came out pretty early, and it was like, I don't know, probably in the 50s. So
yeah.
That's good.
So Chris, tell us like your daily routine with work, since you're kind of running the show at HHA. What's the daily routine for you? I mean, do you find time to work out? Do you, how does it work for you?
Not as much as I would like or as I should. Well, and I don't want to take all the credit because I mean my brother and I pretty much run HHA together. He's not as out front as I am, and I'm not as out front as I used to be. And obviously, a lot of your viewers know Scott Bakken, so Scott's our sales manager. But my brother does all of our engineering. I'm the guy that just kind of sits back and watches all the gauges as far as the financials and oversees the marketing budget. I still do a little bit of purchasing. So up until COVID hit, I was actually still working at my mom's house, which is where HHA operations are. That's where the assembly and the sales calls take place. So, but we're growing there a little bit. And basically, I got bumped out of my desk by one of my other guys. He needed a place to sit. So I said, well, I'll just work from home. So long story short, I've been working from home ever since probably the end of March. And now I just go into the office a couple days a week just to grab the mail and see my mom and check in with all the employees and stuff. So, but I mean, my typical day, I'm an early riser. So I'm up by 5:30 every day, and usually getting to work by 6:30, 6:45. So, which is just up in my bonus room at my house. But and I don't have the extent of the duties that I used to because I passed a lot of stuff off on other people between Scott. I used to, up until about a year and a half ago, I used to do all the shipping. So believe it or not, one of the owners of HHA was still, yeah. And people are like, dude, why did you take so long to give that up? And I'm not quite sure. But I didn't realize how much of my day it was really taking up until I let it go. So now, I mean, I know I'm giving you a kind of a long answer, but I mean, typical day for me, I can be done doing my HHA work some days by 10, 11 o'clock. Some days it's 2. It just depends on how many fires come up and how many things I have to put out. But if everything goes smooth, there's days that, by lunchtime, I don't want to say I'm looking for something to do because obviously I've got my nonprofit, my veterans nonprofit that I started. So it's, the fact of not having as much to do with HHA anymore. And that sounds bad because I still am involved every single day, but I'm able to split my day between for-profit and nonprofit business, which is pretty cool.
What year did HHA start?
1984.
Wow. Holy cow.
1984. Yep. I just turned 45 a few weeks ago, but yeah, I was 9 years old when my dad started it in the basement of a 1,200 square foot ranch house in a subdivision about 2 miles from where we are now.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
Cool.
I mean, literally didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I mean, we weren't like waiting for the guy to come knocking on the door and take the house away, but it was lean times. And started out with one product, a folding stabilizer that actually was shown to us by one of the club members at our local archery club. And my brother was going to tech school at the time. That would have been 83. And he made the very first prototype in his machine tool class and kind of got his button jammed from his instructor because he was supposed to be working on class projects and he was working on stuff for dad instead.
That's awesome.
He ultimately got the last laugh. So, but yeah, I put a lot of Knucklehead was the name of the product. I put a lot of those Knucklehead folding stabilizers together back in the day. And obviously when I was, 9, 10 years old up through high school. So that product is long since gone, but I mean, it put a lot of food on the table for us back in the day when we first started out. So it's, and I don't know if it's just with my dad's passing. He passed away a year ago, July 3rd. And I don't know if I'm just kind of starting to finally zoom out a little bit. I mean, when you're involved in the day-to-day of running a business, I mean, the months and the years just whiz by you like nothing. And it's like, man, it's been 35 years. Where the heck did the time go?
Yeah.
And so I think I'm getting a little bit more retrospective and kind of appreciating more of what we've done in the industry over the last 35 years. And it's been neat to look back on it, reflect on it, and a lot of the principles that he put into place are still there today, and they will be until we're not doing this anymore. So it's pretty cool, and I'm excited about where we're going in the future. We got a lot of good stuff going on. So
very cool.
Yeah,
Tell us about your dad,
Yes.
though. Was your dad like a huge hunter? Is that how he started this idea in his mind, like to start doing things like this?
No, I mean, my dad was 82 when he passed away, so he would have been born in 37, and he was right at the tail end of the talking about pandemics. He was right at the tail end of the polio craze, not craze, but when polio was sweeping the country. So he got struck with polio at a young age. So by the time he was 4 years old, he had a brace on his leg, so he was never able to run, ride a bike, swim, play sports, anything. And a lot of people kind of wrote him off, because I mean, he grew up in the 50s, so he was the cool, John Travolta greaser, with the cigarettes in his t-shirt.
That's Kevin. Kevin was like that too.
Yeah,
Riding around in the 57
Long
Chevy.
hair.
Curly hair.
I don't want to say he was looked down on, but I mean, I think a lot of people wrote him off because of his handicap, and he ended up going to college for business management, and ended up working at a few other manufacturing companies. Had a few jobs when he first got out of college, and then in the late 60s, when the compounds were starting to take off, early 70s is when he actually got into archery. So he started shooting a bow through our local club here, and throughout the 70s just got sick of working for other people, and his passion for archery kind of combined with wanting just to go into business for himself is what eventually launched HHA in '84.
Awesome.
So, I'm sure you've seen the industry kind of change over time. Back then, like, how did you guys get sales? Was it like door to door with the dealers, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, the gentleman is still with us. One of the first sales reps we hired, my dad hired him in 1986, and he's from North Carolina. He actually came to my dad's funeral last summer, so that's 30 plus years later. So yeah, I mean, it was all door to door sales with sales reps, which I mean, those are still, obviously, there's still a demand for those guys and gals that are out there selling stuff door to door to the dealers. But that was really how we built ourselves, and then we built American-made products with a good warranty. So I mean, our reputation and word of mouth, even though we didn't have internet back then, just kind of organically spread our business first in a regional sense, and then as we got bigger and added more products, the combination of that good reputation and the that word of mouth, and then the sales reps just kind of helped spread that fire until '95 when the Optimizer came out, and then it kind of took off from there.
Awesome.
Listen,
And what do
guys,
you have?
I'm not trying to go back on time here, but I'm telling you, Kevin had the hair we're talking about. I mean, look at this bod. Wish I had a bod like that. Jeez, oh Pete's.
I stole that one from Facebook.
That's right.
I was still working on the guns then.
At that point, were you into boxing right there? Was that your boxing time?
I had been boxing for years by that point. Can't you tell by the face?
It looked
Next
beat
time I'll
up.
have to come on the next Throwback Thursday. I'll have to dig out some old pictures of me shooting a bow. So
There we go. I love it.
with my
Love
white
it. So
top and my Wrangler jeans, and
There you go.
awesome. So what's been new with HHA this year? What's been going on through this whole Rona deal, and how have you guys been doing?
yeah, well, I came on. When was that I came on, Dave? That was back pre-COVID. I think it was right after ATA when we talked about all the new stuff. So I mean, we came out with a huge it was a huge undertaking. The new product line we came out with this year, it was the Tetra line. So we basically have
Right.
a entirely new sight line that was very well received at ATA, and we didn't start shipping product until the end of February, and then literally a month later we get shut down for COVID. So it's like, okay, we're going to see how this goes. And quite honestly, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how it was going to impact our industry, but we were shut down for 60 days. We opened back up on May 26th, day after Memorial Day, and had a huge backlog of back orders, because even though our manufacturing was down, we weren't assembling, we weren't doing much shipping, no machining. we were able to, still maintain good contact through social media and through a handful of people that were taking phone calls and emails, and we're able to still get some orders from dealers, and thankfully they were understanding of the situation. So we're just now closing in on getting caught up. We're not quite there yet. My goal was July 4th was to say that we're not back ordering anything, but it's probably going to be closer to the 15th. So probably 3 weeks from now, once we hit mid-July and people are really starting to get cranked up, we're going to have everything on the shelf and ready to rock for a good summer. And from everything that I've heard from talking to dealers and Scott has heard, and just in general, I think our industry is going to be fine with this COVID thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That was a big question. I was going to ask you your thoughts on the industry as a whole at this point and what's happened. Where do you see it going? Do you think it's going to bounce back, or do you think we're going to have a second issue, which it might cause more issues, I guess?
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, knock on wood, hopefully we don't get shut down again. So, I mean, we're working 10-hour days, 6 days a week right now just to get caught up, but we're going to keep the pedal to the metal for probably another 30 or 60 days after that, just to make sure that we've got inventory in the off event that we do get shut down again. Then we can at least send one person in or two people in to ship the product that we do have. But I don't know. I mean, we've been in this industry long enough, and we've seen it where, a recession is actually good for our industry. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people when they hear that, but it seems like when the economy is just through the roof, people are building houses, they're going on vacations, they're buying boats, they're buying this, they're buying that. And the hunting industry suffers a little bit. So it seems like the weaker economy is actually better for us, because then guys are like, well, we're not going to go on that cruise this year. We're not going to build the house, but I'm still going to buy my bow. I'm going to buy a new sight. So I honestly think that it's going to be a good year. I mean, I don't want to say we live in a bubble, but I mean, we're very concerned obviously about HHA, but we do talk to other manufacturers and dealers and stuff. And, I talked to one of my dealers down in Georgia when we were still shut down. And he was actually up about 50% from last year with his bow sales. So I think all in all, I think people are obviously anxious to get outside after being cooped up with all these lockdowns. And I'm pretty sure, I think the fishing and the turkey license sales were up in Wisconsin. So, you walk into Walmart or your local grocery store and you don't see any meat in the freezer. I think it's going to have some people thinking twice about picking up a bow or a crossbow or a fishing pole and getting outside again. So,
yeah, no doubt. But especially with, if we do get a second wave or whatever, staying at home and all that kind of stuff, that's what they were really promoting, is going outside, right? So that come the fall time, people are going to be looking for something to do and somewhere to go, and that falls right in line with what you were saying, I think. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
It also takes consideration of vacation time. People are going to have a lot more vacation time to burn this year. So I think like they're going to spend more of that time, outdoors. At least I am. I know that. I think we talked about Tim and Jamie, but this is the year to go after the big bucks. This is it,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, hunters were social distancing when social distancing wasn't cool. So I mean, we've got that. So there's no issue.
That's the whole reason why I went, was the social distance.
The less people, the better.
Yeah. But I mean, you talk about other, people wanting to get outside. I mean, we buy a little ball bearing actually from one of our bike shops here in town. And I graduated from high school with the guy. And one of my employees went in there a couple of weeks ago to pick up some stock. And he said it looked like a going out of business sale. I mean, you can't get bikes right now. You can't get kayaks. It's crazy. So, I mean, it's good if there's one blessing that's coming out of this COVID thing. Hopefully it's going to get people off the couch and back outside and active and doing stuff and maybe making our nation a little healthier in the process.
Yeah, my son wanted to sell his bike because he wasn't using an extra bike, and we sold it. I got like top dollar for that bike. It was crazy. And I was just thinking about it because I have two bikes, and there's one I never use, and I'm like, I got to fix this thing up and just put it up for sale because it's just pointless to have it around. It's just not even necessary anymore. I mean, we already have another one, but yeah, but people were saying you couldn't get kids' bikes at all. So it was like a huge win for them to even find that bike on sale on Facebook.
Yeah, but it's so true, though, too, with everybody working at home at the same time. Like, there's a huge population of people that are working at home, like myself, Dave, and Jamie here. Like, it just makes sense because you can actually get out and do things.
Yeah.
You don't have that drive home for work that wastes your time. When I'm off of work, you can go for a bike ride with the kids or during lunch or whatever. So it's been a big blessing in disguise.
Or do a podcast in your camper.
In my camper, absolutely. This thing's awesome.
I think
He's
they're
actually-
paying too much. It looks like a $500,000 camper.
The funny part is he's actually in a camper. It's just not that camper.
Yeah, I'm actually in a camper using a virtual background of a camper.
Show us the real one. Show us the real one.
I don't know how do I shut the virtual
Yeah.
background off?
The bottom left under video says choose
Yeah.
virtual background. If you click that, then you can click the one you want, which you could say none.
I was gonna say he keeps cutting in and out. I thought something was kind of fishy there. All of a sudden he's gonna-
Oh, look at how small it is.
That's the real one. This is my little window. I'll take you on a tour here. Hold on.
This is hilarious.
There's bed number 1. There's the kitchen and the fridge, and bed number 2, and that's my whole world. That's the grand tour.
Oh, man.
You know what, Tim? I was thinking about it. The reason it's cutting in like that is that light behind you.
Yeah, I know it is.
That's why.
That's why.
'Cause
I
if
shut
you're
the
opposite,
curtain
if
and
you're
all that.
opposite, it'd be fine. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Now I've got to dig out some retro 70s pictures of myself with the bow, and I have to find a new virtual background for next time.
For the next podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to different companies in the industry. I just had a conversation with Hoyt the other day, and it's not like they're still moving. They've worked from home as well at some points, but they're still moving too. And I think that it seems to have slowed down a little bit for us, but not really. And in fact, during the time where people were really working from home, so like the first couple months, we saw a very high spike in our numbers on Instagram and everything. Everything kind of went up for the digital side. And it was interesting. I'm not surprised by that. And the numbers have started sliding down a little bit once people started going back, depending on the type of job people had, obviously. But also that we're approaching dead of summer, which, a lot of people aren't talking hunting as much in the summer. So as we approach the heat of the summer, more people are out boating and doing other stuff, and it just makes sense. But the best part for me, I feel, is like August, September. To me, those are like for outdoors, and to me, that's like the 2 months that just start really cranking. You guys and other companies are working on, 2021 launch type stuff in your minds, trying to figure out your plans. And but during that time, consumers are going to Bass Pro Shops, buying products, going to pro shops, looking for products. My favorite part of hunting season has always been, not now as much as when I was younger, but getting that Cabela's or Bass Pro book in the mail, and you start to go through it. Like it was a thick book, and you go through it page by page. And I would circle things I really want to try this year. HHA, this, you would circle it and then find a way to save money to get it. And to me, that was my favorite part of the pre-work in my mind, was getting organized and feeling like I was actually, but that was just such a great feeling. So I hope people can still have that this year. I hope that it still, gets people, I just hope people get rowdy like they normally do in August, September.
No, I think they're going to. I mean, if what we've seen so far is any indication, it's going to be a good summer and fall for the archery and the hunting industry, I think. So I just talked to one of my dealers up the road. I've got to get a new scope put on my dad's old rifle, and he just sold his last AR yesterday. I don't know when he had them, but at one point he had 65 ARs, and now he's out. So.
Yeah, we just started getting those from a gun perspective. All of us started getting the 450?
Yeah.
Bushmasters?
Yeah, the Bushmaster. Yeah.
So Michigan made it legal to use that as a shotgun. So if now you could use this rifle in the shotgun zones, which weren't actually ever allowed before. So that gun is went ballistic in the state. And in that process, I'm sure the Rugers made tons of money. I can't even imagine how much money they've made on that gun. CVA, anybody who was offering that model in the state, I can't even imagine.
You couldn't get them. There was a quite a bit of time where you couldn't find them on the shelf because every time they would have one in, somebody would go in and buy it.
I honestly don't know that many people anymore that don't have it that gun hunt here.
Everybody has it. Everybody I know has that gun.
I have it, and I don't even typically gun hunt.
Me either. That's what I'm saying. But this year, there'll be time.
Yep, there sure will be.
Unlike past years.
Yeah, so
we're just.
what have you been hearing Chris, what have you been hearing from all the dealers out there? From all the, I mean, have they been pretty busy now that they're opening back up, or is it kind of like slow because it's the summertime? Have things been coming off the shelves pretty quickly for them?
Yeah, I mean, the guy, like I said, the guy that I talked to yesterday is an archery dealer of ours. He also sells firearms. He said his archery stuff was doing okay, but the focus was really on the gun stuff right now, it sounded like. But then about a month ago, I talked to one of my Georgia dealers, and he was having a heck of a year, probably his best year on record. We've heard that from quite a few people.
Yeah.
And also heard, I just talked to Scott today, and he said, since we've opened back up, we picked up 6 or 7 new dealers. So, I mean, there's definitely business out there to be had, from our side. And it sounds like the dealers that are there are doing well. And I think it's, might have, because a lot of them, even though if they close, some of them were doing the kind of the curbside pickup type stuff. We've got a guy up the road here that was doing that, where he was taking stuff by appointment. So I think maybe some of the business that would be happening now, maybe it happened during the shutdowns because guys were at home and, well, I'm gonna get started on bow early. So, but traditionally, I mean, after 4th of July, it always starts picking up. Some years it's the 5th, some years it's the 15th, some years if it's really late. I think we had one year where things didn't really break open until about the middle of August. But I have a feeling that this year, in another month, it's going to start humming pretty good. So.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Whoa! Heavy window.
It's a tornado.
It's gonna blow you away.
I love it.
That is so funny. Yeah, I think it'll pick up. I do. I think this year, I kind of like the curbside idea because it gives people less chance to be wavered on what they walk in to buy, So it's like sometimes they go in for one thing and then they end up with something else, right? So in this case, I think it actually is not a bad thing necessarily if you buy what you're going to buy and just go and pick it up. So good and bad, right? You also, if you're a pro shop, you're also losing that striding around, spending a little bit extra money on accessories that you might not have gotten, right? So I get it both ways.
True.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, is knowing what they have, right? I mean, a lot of those places weren't necessarily set up with like robust online viewing capability for people to see what they have on the shelves. So you have to really kind of know what you want before you kind of call them up and order it. So I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of a change in the industry with that one, but that'll play out.
Yeah, I think if anything, I feel like the industry, I'm hoping from this it grows a little bit. I'm hoping people give archery a chance now that this is, the thing about archery, it's really important for people to understand. And it's one of the things I try to work on. It's a little bit hard with a name like BowHunterPlanet, but, we do want to stress the idea that you don't have to hunt anything. If you want to just go shoot a bow, we want you to still go shoot a bow. So that's one of the things we've always been pushing with people that are new in the archery world. Just as like, hey, just go get a bow, any bow, just so you can learn if you like it or not like it, right? Get a used bow, whatever it's got to be, but just so you have that chance to do it, and I think that's a big deal because that's where you're going to at least draw people into the sport.
No, it's funny you should bring that up because it's probably been 5 or 6 years now, but we partnered with a guy out of the Chicagoland area. He's got a business called Takedown E-Ventures. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. He came up to me at the ATA show, and I tell this story to everybody, and I was a little bit more judgmental back in the day, and this guy comes up and he's standing out in the aisle at the ATA show, and it's kind of this slick used car salesman looking guy, and I'm thinking, what in the heck is he doing at an ATA show? I'm thinking he's here to sell me insurance or something. And I finally get done with the dealer, and he comes into the booth and introduces himself, and he's got a tablet under his shoulder. And man, if you can give me 2 minutes of your time, I've got something that I'm going to sell you that you have never seen before. And I'm thinking, okay, you waited 15 or 20 minutes. I'll give you 5 more to tell me what you got. I'll send you under. The guy literally blew me away. He's taking the shooting sports to corporate America. So he's got a trailer that he pulls around, and he's partnered with Matthews. He's partnered with us. He's partnered with Yeti. I think 10 Point for crossbows. So he's got compound bows. He's got Genesis bows. He's got recurves. He's got crossbows. He's got air rifles. He's got hatchets.
Is it this?
That's him right there. Axe throwing. It is one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of because he lets anybody that it's a sponsor of him, he'll have him come and be a guide for one of his events. So we did one at a construction company over here in Appleton last winter. They had 300 people there that day, and it was the biggest group they'd ever done. They had to come back and do it on 3 separate occasions. They had 600 people that they were doing. But just awesome. I mean, the archery, it's shooting bows at 10 yards. So, I mean, they're just trying to make it as simple as possible for people that have never shot a bow before. But
yeah,
I had probably a half dozen people. Most of them were women or younger women, and all of a sudden they put a bullseye in a target at 10 yards. They're like, this is awesome. I have to go home and tell my boyfriend about this. I want to get a bow. And so, these guys are just doing some really, really cool stuff. So, I mean, instead of your general, let's go down to the bar and give our employees 2-3 drinks and buy them a $50 steak. Yeah. A lot of these corporate companies are going to a thing like this now where it's a day for them to get out and do team building and interact with each other all around the shooting sports. And it's absolutely awesome.
That's really cool.
Have to, if you guys are up for it, I'll get Jason on here to.
Yes.
We
would love that.
This is so cool.
It is absolutely awesome. And he got shut down because of COVID too. And I just, him and I and a couple other guys from BowHunting.com do an online Bible study a couple days a month. And we were doing that last night. He just got rolling again. And he was down in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. And now he's getting booked up down in Oklahoma. He's got a place to go out in New Jersey. So, I mean, he's doing these things all over the country, and he's introducing people to bows and arrows that, before the day started, they didn't know a bow and arrow from a bow tie. But it's just awesome what he's doing with it and making it fun and interactive for him. And I think it's turning some new people onto the sport. So
that's awesome.
Very cool.
I love it.
Looks awesome.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. It seems like it'd be a lot of work. I can say that much.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Figure that out.
It takes a small army to put one of his events on. I mean, he's got himself, and he calls his instructors. He calls them guides. But yeah, there's probably, depending on the size of the group, there'll be 15 or 20 guides at one of these events. And each one of them's got a station, and then they come through, and it might be 20 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes to go through the station, and then they get a score, so they're kind of competing against their coworkers, and it just makes for a fun atmosphere. And then one of the coolest things is I'm a huge foodie. He's got a 5-star chef out of Chicago that comes and puts on a wild game dinner for the crew at the end. And I think we had duck tamales and buffalo burgers or elk burgers the day that I was there. I mean, it's
no way. That's awesome.
Throwing hatchets and eating wild game, it doesn't get much better than that. So
I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Wow,
that is pretty cool.
That sounds
I'll
great.
Definitely hook you up with him. He'd love to come on. He's a great speaker.
Yeah, no, we'd love to have him on. We love, and like Dave was saying, I mean, that's what we love about what we do, is just trying to bring new information and people into the industry. We love seeing new people come into the industry. So to have somebody like that on is trying.
I've never heard of that. That was really cool. That was really cool.
I mean, I'm glad I gave the guy a chance, because, like I said, just knowing the way that I used to be years ago, it was like, if that guy's not going to make me any money, I don't want anything to do with him. I was sending him out of the booth faster than he'd come in, but that's, I gave him 5 minutes, and now we've gotten to be very close friends, and he's literally doing something that I don't think anybody in this country is doing to introduce shooting sports to. I mean, he's got some Fortune 500 companies that are doing this stuff. He's worked with the Chicago Cubs. He's worked with a lot of different baseball teams and stuff. I know the 85 Bears had him do a thing, and Steve McMichael actually ended up buying a bow for his kid, bought 2 bows for his kid as a result of having this takedown event. Do the Bears anniversary party. So I mean, it's cool stuff.
That is really awesome.
I'm sure you'll have him hooked up next with NASCAR.
I'm working on that. So yeah.
I know that's coming.
Yep.
All right, Chris. Well, hey man, thanks for joining us. It's always good to have you. You're always welcome on. So it's always fun just to chat. And if you guys are out there, make sure you visit HHA online today. Check out what they got going. There's a ton of great products, rests, scope, sights, you name it. They got everything. So, Chris, thanks a lot, man, and stay safe out there, all right?
Yeah, and before you guys cut me off, I just want to give a shout out to our veterans nonprofit that we're doing too. We're doing 8 events this year across the state of Wisconsin to raise money for honor flight chapters, and then also to raise money for PTSD and the 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. So. We had 3 events before COVID. We had one that got canceled, and then we just rebooted again here 2 weeks ago. And now I've got events actually the next 3 weekends. We've got one at our hometown club where my dad kind of got his start in archery. That one's this weekend. And then we got 2 more, and then we've got one actually right in Matthew's backyard at the end of that's in a couple weeks. So, but anyway, yeah.
Where can people find out more information on that, Chris?
That's we're on Facebook and Instagram, and then we've got a website, hhausa.org. So all that money goes back to vets here in Wisconsin. That's something that's just been put on my heart the last few years. We had a military discount at HHA for a few years, and I was the one that kind of spearheaded that. So just having these conversations with all those veterans and active duty military, it really, not that I didn't have an appreciation for them before, but hearing their stories and just seeing what archery has done for veterans, especially those that have had PTSD. We went to the Warrior Games a couple years back, and I mean, I witnessed a guy that had been blown up by an IED, and I mean, you couldn't recognize him looking at his face, and basically had no fingers, and he was shooting arrows at 20 meters better than I can do on a good day. So that definitely,
that's awesome.
Definitely stuck with me, and it made me realize, hey, I've got a heck of a platform, and what we've built with HHA Sports, how can I use that to help our veteran community? So that's when HHA USA was born. So last November, I formed HHA USA as a nonprofit, and God only knows where this thing's going to go, but I could see this becoming a national thing over time. And the thing that's really been cool to me, I mean, it started out as a veterans mission, and that's where it's going to stay, but it's gotten me into some archery clubs and just seeing how much those guys are struggling. I mean, anybody can shoot a target in their backyard now. So, I mean, the club that we started at in 84, I think they probably had 150 or 175 members. This year, I think they've got 60. And I think you guys will probably attest to that in your area too. I mean, the participation at the archery clubs is not what it used to be. And so
right,
I'm finding very quickly that when you put on an event like this, it draws people in. And so it's been fun to see the different legs that are growing in it. And we're also big sponsors for S3DA. And so I've got S3DA teams that I can almost set my watch to it. Yep, those kids are going to be here any minute. And all of a sudden, mom and dad come rolling in with their shooter jerseys on, and they've got 3 or 4 of these little squirts coming along. And I mean, that's what's going to save our sport. That's what we need kids getting into archery. So I'm not arrogant enough to think that I'm single-handedly going to save the archery industry, but I think what we're doing here in Wisconsin, I think eventually the drumbeat's going to get louder and hopefully spread across the country.
I love it, man.
Absolutely. All right, Chris, thanks, man. HHAsports.com and also their HHAUSA.org. Make sure you guys check those out. We'll have Chris on again soon. Not too long from now. We'll give it a couple weeks, but get back on, do some more chatting. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. You bet.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Chris.